What's happening?
Sorry to bother you, I just wanted to see if, you got to check out the.
I
Fourth of
did.
July.
I thought the price was a little high.
That's what he's saying, because, the pig itself is expensive, he said, and then we're having a lot of proteins. From basically, the ribs, the hamburgers, hot dogs, he said, those are, I guess, high in cost. Do you wanna lower it to what price do you think would be?
I think we could go to 29.99. I think it make more sense.
Okay,
I just think it's too much.
okay.
What was it, 48?
Mhm.
Um, Dave, are you on mute?
No, but I got audio now, so.
Okay, I would like to bring this meeting of the board of MLCC. Yeah. We have a full board today. Everyone is here with Dave on Zoom. So I'd like to call it to order at 1:32. Let's join me with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Wave on.
First thing on the agenda is the approval of the board minutes. Dennis?
Madam President, I would like to move that we accept the special board meeting minutes of May 11th, the board meeting minutes for May 27th, executive session minutes for May 27th, special board of directors meeting for May 31st, and the special board of directors meeting for June 15th.
I'll second that.
Do we have any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any nays? Motion passed. Okay, member comments. We have one here that I would like to take 3 minutes to ask for strategic plan, and it's Courtney Moe.
This thing on.
No.
Is it on now?
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Court Moe, and I've been a member for 3.5 years. And I served on the Finance and Credit Committee for 3 years. I'm here to make a request that you ask our general manager to create a strategic plan for our club, utilizing his past experience, the staff, our membership, and if appropriate, outside resources. This plan is needed because the club is facing numerous issues today, and there are more serious issues down the road. These issues are complex and interrelated with one another and require solutions that need to be continuous and methodical over a number of years. This effort to create a strategic plan would follow a standard format and include a SWOT analysis, that is, evaluating strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats, a mission statement, strategies for achieving the mission, and an action plan with a 5 to 10 year timetable for carrying out these actions. Member input sessions would be a major part of this process. Assuming that the strategic plan is completed before this board's term expires, it would be presented to the board for adoption. Board liaison, working with other board members, would ensure that the work is proceeding in a manner acceptable to the board so that the board will be able to adopt the plan. I have talked with each one of you individually. Well, all of you agreed with the seriousness of some of the issues and the need for a strategic plan. You also have concerns and reservations about the process and the probable outcome. Therefore, I urge each of you to meet with Eric individually and voice your concerns. He has done this before and will be able to address your concerns. The issues the club faces are not going away. Each year they become that much more difficult to deal with, and the alternative ways forward become more limited. please be the board that makes the future work for us rather than against us. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
Here's a copy
Then
of
we
that.
have another comment, which is, I would like to speak about the restroom project, and this is Bob.
Lottie, is that right?
Monty.
Hopefully I don't need this. I do it that way. Let's see. Just it's gone a long time and I'm a construction guy. No different than anybody else, but I've been in commercial construction for about 20 years. At most levels, all the way up to stuff like that is side projects, small stuff, but I've been doing it for years. What that means, anyway, there's sub out there now putting up fence work or whatever. I don't know if anybody's supervising what they're doing. There's some of the issues or whatever, the present situation, do we know if the showers need to be ADA? I don't want to stop but that's a question. Do the showers in there need to be ADA showers? Do we not know that after 22 months, or do we know that?
All I can say is coming in here, they were half built when I got here, but I can only tell you they were built to their specs or to the plans that. So that's what I know. I've taken the contractor in there and he says they're built to the specs or to the plans.
Okay, I've seen the plans and I saw them again the other day, and those aren't ADA showers. For specs, there's about 99% chance or not that they could be less than bizarre, but you got 34 inches this way, 34 that way, and small showers. They could be adjusted. I have a rough idea what it costs. But I don't think they're ADA showers. And can you build that? Can that project be built without ADA showers?
Well, if they're not built to the plans, then I think, the
They're
county.
built to the plans, but those aren't ADA showers, almost for sure. I mean, can you build those without having them be ADA acceptable? I wouldn't think so. Does anybody?
I guess if the county signed off on the plans, what I'm saying is, we did take them in because there was some concerns from people, Jim. And so when we took the gentleman there, he just says they're built to the plans that he was given. So those were approved. So, what you're saying, I totally understand it. You brought it up to me the other day, totally understand it, but from where we're at, until the county comes back in there, what I'm saying is.
I'm saying there's a chance they're okay. There's a big chance they're not, but the proactive part would be. Call the architect. The architect knows why nobody knows, or this is not the architect knows whether they need to be and whether they are. And that's that's one thing, and that's great. Then the exit doors, they're probably not ADA. The exit doors on the latch side, you probably, and there's in the plans further back, it shows 24 inches. Now, if you've got doors that have latches on them or closures, you need 24 inches. Otherwise, you've got 18 there in both of them. So more than likely, unless you can get the architect to come up with maybe some reasonable, not hopeless, but maybe some reasonable deal, there's a big problem there. Probably big problem. So that's about a 70% problem. The first one is about a 75% problem, which adds up to a problem. But I don't see any reason not to just let this go for another however many months. And we'll just try and find out when it's okay, it hits us in the head. Oh, that'd be nice. It can be architect, 3 calls it, third one of the architect. Pathway from the parking lot to the building needs to be ADA. Now I see they're getting ready, putting the gate there. I don't know who went over what with them. But there's a possibility that it's probably not ADA. For that pathway. It's not a big fix, but it needs to be. So anyway, I would say going forward on construction projects, I don't know the genesis, and I know the board's changed and people come, people go. But our building process here is basically, I use the word unsound. How somebody could not know about those restrooms after all this time. Kind of unsound, how it's gone on for almost 2 years unsound, right? How could be a lot more money? I don't want to walk in the middle of this and say somebody screwed up. Who knows? But the continuity, just the whole thing, there should be something, I don't know if they have it, maybe I heard somebody was, any project over a certain amount of money needs to have a consultant, basically a construction manager or supervisor, I don't, is that correct or not? Because that's. And here's my guess, it's gonna end up at about, this is $420,000. That's my guess it'll end up. That's what it'll cost, good, bad, or ugly. That's my guess. And that probably is good to guess anybody here because there's a lot of. Anyway, so should we have a $400,000 project without anybody representing us from a construction aspect who knows what's going on? I would suggest a 5 to 10% on for that to allow for this going forward, and on that and anything. And I know we're looking at these renovations here and stuff, is that it could go the same direction. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff in the weeds, and the fact that 22 months in, nobody has an answer as to whether those restrooms should be ADA or not, or where we're heading with that, that would be concerning. And I'm not, it's not easy. I know everybody's goes and comes, but there needs to be some continuity. That's all I have to say, just that. But here's the other thing, if nobody gets a hold of the architect in the next week, that's probably on everybody here. I don't know if that wants to blame you guys, but maybe it's on you. I don't know. Somebody needs to do that.
Why do you mean?
Take the fall. That's my point.
So, Mr. Blatzy, I'd like to speak to this a little bit. I think this board absolutely shares your concern right down to virtually everything you came up with. As a matter of fact, you were right. We did inherit this project a little over halfway completed, probably more than that. He was building it to a set of plans that we had nothing to do with. And we had our concerns along the way with the exact same things you were talking about. We gave the contractor the latitude because he was working within his contract. I know you had concerns when that parking lot job started, the same concerns I did. He assured me that that job was going to be brought up in lifts of 6 to 8 inches and compacted all the way through. We caught him coming in and putting lifts of 3 feet in. And had we not had any expertise in place, that probably would have been paved right over. But we shut the job down. We pulled that aspect of his contract away from him, and we took over and completed the parking lot correctly. We've been wanting to do a preliminary final inspection, which, you know, I'm out of the building industry too, and which is almost, there is no such thing. But we wanted to get the county building inspector in there and say, hey, we got concerns. Is this going to pass ADA? We don't want to get all the way down to the wire and then call this contractor on it and have another year go by. But we've shared the same concerns, and we elected to allow the man to finish the job per his specs and then approach it at that point. But we do share the same concerns. And it's just been a tough deal when you pick up a project midstream. As a matter of fact, this club was locked out of that bathroom for, Eric can answer this, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks. And unless we would have brought a locksmith in, we would have never got in there. But we finally had a contractor that responded back and got the thing opened back up. But it's been an exercise in frustration, and we share the same frustrations that you've voiced.
And just to make us all feel better about life right now, the county signing off that that's ADA means 0 in a court of law. 0. ADA is different. It's constitutional. It's congressional, and you can still be sued by an ADA attorney. And it goes, and there is no fudge factor. There is no substantial compliance. If you are a thousandths, if you are a nanometer off, you can be found liable.
Thank you very much. Thank you, David and Steve. It's an ongoing problem that we've been addressing for a long time. Like we said, this is the 3rd board that has handled this project. And this board is working diligently to be the last one that will have to handle this. So I think that we're getting very close to having the have it come out and be checked with as soon as we get the fencing and the gate up. And that's really all we can say right now. And then we're going to have to go from there because we're trying diligently to get this passed. Okay.
Is there any reason somebody couldn't Monday call their architect and ask him about the showers? Is there, or, and the door, the 18 versus, is there any reason whatsoever? Architect who works for us couldn't be called, it'd probably be a 1-minute phone call. Oh, why wouldn't that happen?
Jim, our Eric will do that Monday.
Shit.
Yes,
While the board may have changed 3 times, has the architect changed?
no,
Has the crew leader changed? So they're working against plans that were approved by initially the first board, correct?
plans have changed. I mean, the plans themselves didn't change,
No,
but we just.
Not the internal plan.
Not the
Not
internal
the
plan,
layout.
but
So,
different
to his
things have
point,
been
this-
added.
To his point, this goes back to the architect, starting from the architect's drawings, and if they were wrong at the beginning, why wasn't it called out at the beginning? Good question.
We'll find out. Better answer.
Better, okay?
My crazy low buck remedy in the short term is if we're not required to have showers inside, nice and palatial. Apparently, we have to have a pool shower, and our pool shower was illegal. So that was the impetus for pursuing showers in the ADA bathroom. We could put a proper drain and an outside shower deal, just like we have at most pools everywhere, on the outside of the thing pretty cheaply. And that becomes everybody's shower. And so we have an identical ADA accommodation for both ADA and non-ADA. And I've looked at the path, and I've got some pretty good fixes to the path I think that we could do reasonably. I don't think we'd have to take the palm trees out. I think we can get 36 inches between us in a straight shot and with the slope. It's really close. But I was really, the 18-inch door thing that I didn't realize that one popped. I gotta go take a look at that. And I don't,
18 right now, 24 is probably needed almost.
because that's a hard fix with the blocking stuff. I don't know how to fix that. Oh, well, it's a challenge.
Okay, is there any other member comment? General Manager's report.
Okay. Start off with the financial overview. The month of May was another positive financial month for the club. Net profit for the month was $68,513, better than budget. Expenses were below budget by $44,295, and revenue was better than budget by $24,218. Food and beverage was $7,472 better than budget, and at the end of May, for the year, we are at a net loss of $99,323 versus 2022, we were at $185,603.
Wow.
Golf shop, we were $9,319 better than budget, and for the month, revenue was better than budget by $6,630. A lot of outside play, which is good, and guest play. General administration, we were better than budget by $28,428. A little bit of timing there on different bills. Golf maintenance, better than budget by $25,428. Clubhouse, $583 better than budget. Mission Lakes Inn, we're down below budget by $2,058, just not as many people staying at the inn. And then the pool and rec, we were below budget by $870. We will, as we continue to see each month, a decrease in the house guest passes and the renter passes. So we've definitely seen a decrease in that this year. Reserves for the month of May, we spent $20,696. We were reimbursed for the desert scape that we got, that went back into reserves, that we took out of reserves. So at the end of the month, we were at $2,964,402 in reserves, which nothing is owed to reserves at this point. So we have paid back. Food and beverage happenings. Thursday nights, we're still offering the bistro menu, the new bistro menu, and continuing the new summer menu on Fridays and Saturdays with nightly specials. Bistro menu is still available on Saturdays and Sundays as well in the bar area. July 4th, we have the pig roast barbecue. That'll be from 11 to 4 PM, and I think she put some flyers out there. It's $29.99. And then we have a parade at 4 o'clock, and anybody interested in decorating their golf cart, we have you decorated by 3:30, and we'll meet right in front of the clubhouse out here. We'll line everybody up. Bingo night will be on July 12th at 5 PM, one session. July 13th, we will be part of a dine out event here at the Coachella Valley. And then on Friday, July 28th, we have karaoke. And saying that, we have it's a dine out group out here in the valley. They go place to place each month. And so they're coming up here on, I think it's July 12th. So there's about 38 signed up for that. All around the valley that come here for dinner. They wanted to try our bistro menu. So we did offer the Friday and Saturday, but they're gonna come up with bistro menu. Right. And saying that, okay, July 10th, the upstairs will be closed for 3 days for sure. They're gonna be laying the new vinyl flooring. So we're pushing them to be done by Thursday, so we can have this event. We're gonna have the event no matter what, but hopefully we get through the vinyl flooring event and we can show off new flooring plus new painting in here. So we will be closed the first 3 days. That's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, closed totally upstairs. Starting the 10th, Monday the 10th. Monday the 10th. Okay, for the restroom down there, good news, electric panel is in. We've been waiting 6 months on getting that project done. Bad news is they turned off the power on Tuesday. It was supposed to turn it back on Thursday. The county wouldn't come out and inspect, so power would stay off through the weekend. So we did have to cancel some guests this weekend because all the power's off to the end. But Monday, the county and Edison will be out here to turn it back on. Today, like Mr. Lottie mentioned, they started digging the footings for the fence out there. The county will be out here probably Monday or Tuesday to take a look to see if their footings are correct by the spec. So right now they're just putting the footings in. And that's just another step further to finishing this project. And I will call the architect and see if he'll get out here to talk to us a little bit, or I'll go to his office. One of the two. Before we get into the comment cards, we only had a few comment cards this month, but I do want to say a few words. Basically, the condos, just everybody understands we've been talking about it, but the Mission Lakes Condo Association, they pay for all their common area down there. We don't do anything with their common area. We don't take care of their properties or anything like that. Their common area, their grass area and all that is basically off, it's trespassing if we go on with our dogs and stuff like that. So they really are, if you're an owner of the condo, that's your property, that's your common area, you can use it. But for our homeowners, we should stay out of that area. We have an area across the clubhouse up here, up on the hill up here, left of number 10, a good little area to walk your dog. It's grass, and that's a good area. We're still looking at a dog park area. We're looking at the wash area between or left of 13 Green. We're looking at that big grass area as a portion, but I know we got to talk to the homeowners as well there. So anyways, just if we can, as homeowners, just, stick to our area.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Comment cards this month. We only had a few. Like I said, great job on the ladies luncheon. Food and service was excellent. Number 2, I would like to give praise to Ben from the Pro Shop. His chipping lesson was a game changer. Number 3, I would like to recommend the bar to serve a cocktail of the month. I feel this would help drive more business for the clubhouse. Number 4, June 15th, I attended a club meeting. Thank you to the Good Samaritan who turned in my golf cart key into the office. Thank you to the ladies in the office for securing it, and your honest and attention was very appreciated. And for May, that is the general manager's report.
Thank you.
I propose that the first drink of the month be the Big Heine.
What would be in that?
I don't know, but it's big.
Thank you, Eric.
Yeah, right?
Okay, so let's go with committee reports. Architectural control.
So since we have a vacant position for that liaison right there, I asked Jaime to read the ACC report for the month.
Okay, thank you.
Because I'm a good reader. Oh, because I'm a good reader. That's fine. All right, so the. Yeah. Right. So the ACC has a very good committed group of members who have been very busy working on updating our color palettes to help in keeping our community visually balanced. They're in the process of assembling the stucco chips with colors matching for the fascia, doors, and garages. Once committee approves the new palette, it will be presented to the board for approval. Weeds. We've come a long way since our efforts in May to eradicate the weeds, but we still have several properties with concerns. Please rest assured that the ACC is addressing the issue with these members. You guys need to come to my neighborhood. Our next adventure is to ensure all palm trees are well trimmed to MLCC standards. We will be sending out warning notices tomorrow for out of compliance palm trees with follow-up violations on the 15th. We understand that gardeners will be very busy during this time and may not be able to accommodate the deadline given. If you receive a warning notice and need more time, please contact the Member Relations Office and advise when the gardener is scheduled to work on your palm trees. The ACC will accept any reasonable extension request. Reasonable is within a week or two of the deadline dates. All right, so we have noticed several homes have already been trimmed, but too early for this year. And because of all the rain, the palm fronds are just now starting to die. So we do have a couple of companies that only take cash, which are licensed and qualified. Planning for next year, we are looking for someone that would be willing to help coordinate scheduling efforts for members that would be interested in having their palm trees trimmed during the July 1st timeframe. All right, so one of the loudest complaints that the ACC has received from our committee members is the amount of volunteer time it takes sometimes to get an issue resolved. After having an opportunity to talk to our lawyers about this, we have been advised that remediation on an issue should not take more than 30 days to resolve. As an example, a consistent violation for the same issue can be escalated to a hearing if the issue is not resolved after the initial warning period has expired. To help the ACC keep better accountability, we have subscribed to a new program that maintains the database with the required statistical data. That's the ACC committee report.
Thank you, Jaime.
You're welcome.
Condominium Association.
I had told Eric that Mike had to go solve an issue, but he will be back to do a report.
Okay. Okay. Finance and Credit Committee, Steve?
All right. As you heard in the general manager's comments, our financial position is looking really, really well. I wish I could take all the credit for that, but I think a lot of the credit goes to our general manager and our controller, who are doing a fantastic job. I'll take credit for being part of the team that hired him. So that's where I'll take my credit. Exactly. Things are, it's amazing, and I spent a career, consulting with businesses and stuff, and doing turnarounds and flips on businesses, and it was interesting how very subtle changes in leadership and management could make all the difference in the world. And you bring somebody in that just tightens up the control and has the leadership. It's amazing how every department starts to sing. And I look out there and other than the ADA bathroom, I look and I see a lot of things turning around. I still have disappointments with the food and beverage numbers, but they are going in the right direction dramatically. So I'm hoping with the outside play stuff that we can get some leverage, some food and beverage business out of the outside play coming in. But anyway, getting down to the committee's work, I would like to make a motion to approve checks over $1,000 from operations and reserve accounts for May 2023.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Are there any nays? Motion passed.
And I would like to make a motion to approve the finance and credit report for May 2023.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed.
Right, now we have an RFCA from golf course superintendent to purchase from operations 100, it's from operations, it's not replacing a piece of equipment that we have, although it's replacing the backpack style ones in a sense. Right now, because as we've gone to sprayers are used all over golf courses. But especially now we have a lot of weed control. It's what brought it up with the weed control spraying, herbicide spraying that we're having to do in the new desertscape areas. And we've been having guys mix up the chemical, because you mix it up, add water, mix up a batch, fill up their backpack, go out, drive out to the area, spray 20% of it, go back to maintenance, drive back to maintenance, mix up another batch, fill their backpack up. And it's just back and forth, and it's a very labor intensive. And the idea here is that they can mix up the amount that they need to do the entire area they're gonna work on that day. Drive the rig out to the place. It's got hoses, it's got attachments, it's got a really nice Honda generator. And for $6,500, they can reduce a lot of labor costs, a lot of time, and do the job a lot more efficiently. As we start getting more and more of these desertscape areas, then there's a real need to be able to do this efficiently and quickly. So with that being said, we've got the vendors John Deere of the United States, I'm sorry, it's just 6401 for 100 gallons sprayer. I'd like to make a motion that we approve that RFCA.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion approved.
Now, on the agenda, there is a second RFCA from the Future Planning Committee to perform a structural survey of the clubhouse from reserves. We tabled that in finance. And I was a little bit hesitant as the chair of the finance and treasurer. Because kind of what we were talking about there was kind of a board decision. But there are alternatives to doing that, and there are concerns that we had about doing a structural analysis of the clubhouse, that it wasn't timely, that we're not close enough to any kind of a remodel or replacement kind of thing. And that, there might be other ways of evaluating to help the future planning committee decide what the costs would be of replacing this building or remodeling this building, what kind of upgrades we would encounter, that there was other ways of going about this than actually coming in, bringing engineering team in to dig up the foundation and go in the walls, that sort of thing. So it just felt like this was something you do a year or two out from a remodel, not 5 to 10 years out from something. So we tabled it to discuss, to basically give a chance for the board and the future planning committee to get together and say, hey, what's really going on? What are our needs here? Let's hold off on this RFCA until the board and the committee can kind of get on the same page.
I'd like to speak to the intent. If I could, I'd like to speak to the intent of the future planning committee with their idea. Now, when they brought that topic up, the whole idea was actually strategic, and it was future planning, and they wanted to give the membership the ability to have some discussion over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years with some educated assumptions. And are we gonna, if we do consider a remodel, do we have an option to remodel, or are we gonna be leveling this building and starting new? So that was kind of the idea. Some of the things that changed is we found the Dead Sea Scrolls that we did not believe existed. We could not put our hands on a set of drawings on this clubhouse to save our life. And I don't know how he did it, but Eric found some. They just about disintegrated in your hands, but the board authorized spending and we had those digitized. So that was a huge game changer for us. Now, I'm in favor of tabling this as well as the finance committee, and I think the spirit of the board is to do the same. We do think we have an option to have the plans evaluated in lieu of bringing in an engineering firm. It would be a lot cheaper. And then the assumptions would be that the foundation is what the plan said it is, that the framing package is what the plan said it is. And just, you know, people like Mr. Lottie in the audience can attest to this. You can have all the assumptions in the world, and when we open this thing up, we're going to find a lot of change orders and a lot of engineering that's going to need to happen. But that was the intent of the future planning committee, and I think everybody's comfortable with the direction that the board wants to go on that.
Thank you, Dave. And there was an awful lot of discussion during that finance meeting, and a lot of things were brought forward. One of the things we also talked about was for the future planning committee to possibly look at the cost of these things and how much it would cost us to begin to remodel the clubhouse. Does the clubhouse need to be completely leveled and taken from the bottom up, or do we need to move room from room? So that's kind of another reason why this was tabled, because like I say, it was really a lot of discussion, and going forward, I'm sure we'll be discussing this a lot. But thank you, Dave.
Thank
Is
you.
there any other discussion on this?
I think it's still on the table.
Yeah.
I motion to table
Second?
Question.
Yes,
So based on what you discovered in the plans and based on the discussion that happened at the finance committee, what is the anticipation of the remodel? 5 years, 10 years?
That we don't know yet.
we have no actual set date of when we might consider that project forward.
Thank you.
Okay, I had a motion. Did I get a second?
Yes. Steve second. Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, motion approved. Golf committee, Heidi.
Sheila, would you please?
Before we get started,
Yeah.
before we get started, do the first motion on there.
Be the first motion.
That's on the.
Oh, yeah, you gotta
Okay.
approve him
We
first.
have to read, we have to,
Oh,
Yeah,
we have to
make
take.
him official.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve Jaime Escamilla as our liaison to the golf committee?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Jaime Escamilla as liaison to the golf committee.
And I second.
Do we have any discussion about that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
The peanut gallery.
all right. Thanks, guys.
Okay, now I can talk. Upcoming tournaments for the month of July include the flag tournament. The tournament is open to all members of MLCC with an established handicap. This handicap must be established legitimately by June 30th. So if some of you do not have a handicap, I suggest you see David Goldstein and he'll go through the procedure with you. Please supply though David with signed scorecards, at least 5 with dates and tees played. It's available now on Chelsea to sign up, and it's by signing up on tee times. It's not a shotgun. And if everybody know what a flag tournament is, okay, so flag tournament, you'll have a flag and you'll have your handicap on it, how many strokes you get. So let's suppose you get 15 strokes. So as you're playing along, and you just keep track of your score and watch for your handicap. And when you end up, let's say the handicap, I'll make up the numbers, 72, and your handicap is at 10. When you get to 82, plant your flag. And you'll have directions on where to plant, if it's on the green, off the green,
One year, my husband put it in the tree on the 15th in the tee box. That tree is no longer there. So, I don't know if anybody found it, but that's where he ended up. So, yeah, it's a fun tournament. There will be no lunch afterwards because there'll be definitely the pig roast that we're hoping that all of you will attend. July 15th will be the MGA WGA monthly Twisted Scramble Tournament. This will be an ABCD event. How this is played is that the B player, for example, will play certain holes individually, and the remaining threesome play a scramble. At the end of that hole, the total score will be the scramble score plus the individual score. Your assigned tee box is based upon your index as of July 13th. Please sign up on Chelsea no later than July 10th, and the cost is only $15. Again, we did not want to do another lunch or breakfast because we want you to support the 4th of July. So that one will be an easy one. We'll keep downstairs busy in the bar, I'm sure. The remaining summer tournaments include a WGA MGA mixed eclectic tournament on August 5th and 6th. This is a 2-day event with a brunch on Sunday following Sunday's round. Cost for this tournament is $45. And I think those of you that played the tournament and had the brunch had a really good brunch last month. I think it was really well done. September brings an end to our season tournaments. This will on September, well, we'll have the 3rd annual SOS Ride Tournament. That is on September 9th, I think it is. The MGAW, it's usually an MGA-WGA tournament, but it is open to all MLCC members with an established handicap. Each foursome will have a Marine in their group. This has been a very successful tournament, and we've raised over $1,800 for SOS Ride each year. We're looking for sponsors for our Marines from 29 Palms. Please see Julian, Andy Carney, David, or me if you wish to sponsor a Marine. The cost is $65, the same as it was last year. The sponsorship helps with transportation from the base, cart fees, and allow the Marines to have their own winning pot. Those of you who played in this tournament have not only had a great time, but have also had the pleasure of getting to know the men and the women who serve our country. It's a great opportunity to say thank you for your service. We are also looking for hole-in-one sponsors too. Please see David if you wish to sponsor this. We will also have in the golf shop a box where you can drop off checks or cash to help SOS Ride continue serving our Marines and their families. We'll be sending out info to all the members in July about this tournament. I have for your consideration, board, a request from the Morongo firefighters. They would like to host a tournament here this August 19th. It would be a 7:30 shotgun. Backfill will be made possible and available for all members. Jaime, I ask that you make a motion to the board to approve this.
So I would like to make a motion that we approve the Morongo firefighters golf tournament on August 19th.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion on this?
Yeah, what day is that?
It's Saturday,
Saturday?
and there'll be backfill, and they will be having lunch. Yeah. That was perfect. And as Jaime and I did discuss, we thought it was a great idea. They're our closest here. This would encourage hopefully some outside play from them. And if it's very successful, maybe it's a yearly thing. So it'd be great. So yeah.
Okay, is there any other discussion?
Shelley, was that the tournament where they were allowing members to play in?
Oh, yeah. They'll be backfill. They're expecting 75, plus or minus, you know how that goes. And so they'll be backfill.
I think also David said that our members could play in their tournament, just paying their food and stuff, so without paying a break fee.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
Great, thanks. And the last request for a calendar change, for the kids tournament that we had this April, they would like to make this an annual event. They have requested March 23rd, which is a Saturday, or March 24th, which is a Sunday, to hold this tournament. It'd be also a 7:30 shotgun followed by lunch.
this past April, they had their first tournament here and we did make some money on the tournament. So, and it would also be a backfill open to members to either participate in the tournament, pay your fee, or backfill. So Jaime, I asked you to make a motion to the board to approve this.
Okay, so as the defending champion of this past tournament.
I was second.
Anyhow, it was a great tournament. I think this is a great idea for us to create annual tournaments. The only question is whether we wanted to make it the Saturday or the Sunday. I don't think they care either way.
Yeah, they didn't care. They asked for, also in April, but, the golf committee felt March dates were perfect.
So one of the reasons we want the March date is to give the Canadians a chance to win this awesome belt. I should have brought the belt today to show it off because it's a really cool belt.
And For the Kids is a local DHS charity for fine arts. So this supports here, and that's what we're trying to do is if we can bring tournaments in here and guests in here, hopefully we get more people coming here, either restaurant, golf, whatever, like the Morongo firefighters.
Exactly. So there wasn't a lot in the initial tournament. And
No.
It doesn't matter because me and my partner are the champions. So
They did a really good job. They did a great job.
they did do a great job.
But we
Yeah.
did make some money off of them. So
Right.
it wasn't a lot, but it wasn't in the red.
Right, and so the reasons for these is gonna be a net positive for the club, but the summertime one, right, is gonna bring people here in the summertime when we're not very busy anyway and bring us some revenue. And then this one is gonna be, we're gonna have the Canadians here and then hopefully we're gonna generate more interest in our club from outside play. So I would like to make a motion that we approve the For the Kids tournament, either March 23rd or 24th, and we can, is that the right dates?
Yes, and you can discuss the date so we
And
can
discuss
solidify
the right now.
it now.
And I'll second that.
The discussion on the dates, Saturday or Sunday?
Yep, whatever you guys want, I don't even care.
What, I'd be curious in the audience, what do you think is better for the membership in terms of, what's gonna impact least Saturday money or Sunday? Tom?
I think maybe Sunday would be better. That way there are weekend golfers who come out here just for the weekend. Could play their golf on Saturday if it's, play golf on Saturday, then they can go home on Sunday.
I was kind of thinking Sunday has a lesser impact.
I think so too. I think Sunday has a lesser impact. There's less people out on the course on Sunday.
It's pretty close. It doesn't really matter too much, but I think if they're okay with Sunday, I think that might be a better day.
Yeah,
How about with
they're
staff,
okay with
though?
either.
Is staff better on Saturday though?
David didn't care.
Because they did have a lunch.
They did.
Yeah, we had 4 servers that day working on that particular tournament for their lunch.
Trish?
When is the men's member guest?
It's earlier this. next
It's
year.
earlier this year. It's
earlier.
the first, what was it? It's 2 weeks before that. It's 2 weeks before that. And the women's is the last weekend. So they'd be in between almost.
Yeah, there's 2 weeks between the men and women
Right.
this year.
So I'm sorry, Sheila.
This goes back to a member that was trying to say I was a really nice person and listening to him. And he kept calling me Sheila, so. Hamito now is his name, so Hamito,
Sorry about
Jaime.
that. So you told me March 1st through 3rd, I believe, in a
Yes.
text message, but then
Yes.
the calendar you sent me showed the 15, 16,
That-
17.
that was the year before.
But
yeah.
it said. okay,
Yeah, so
but
it is the
says-
first,
Okay, but it said 24 on it.
I know,
Okay, so it's gonna be the first week then?
yes.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
So we're gonna go for Sunday?
and that'll be the 24th?
Yes,
All right, so I would like to make a motion that we approve the For the Kids Golf Tournament for March 24th, 2024.
Is there a second? Any more discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Any
Okay.
nays?
good. Because last year, you know what he did? The guy that was organizing it, he was giving away free hockey tickets too.
He did,
Yes,
Yeah.
he did. So,
and dinners, he was giving away dinners.
yeah,
too.
so he was trying to encourage members to play. It was $130, I think it was, per person to play in
It
it.
was 125, I believe.
Or 120, yeah, something like that. And if you signed up, you had, well, you could go to a hockey game on a Friday, Saturday, or whatever he had availability, which was great. So if that helps encourage you to sign up and get 2 tickets to go see a hockey game, what the heck?
And he gave away t-shirts and stickers and.
Oh, and hats, yeah, I
Yeah.
still have my hat, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's a great,
Win-win.
it's a win-win is right, and the idea of supporting local is great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It cost me a lot
Shelley?
of money. So you have to go to all those damn playoff games.
Right?
Here you go.
Sue.
Since I'm part of the golf committee, I just wanted to mention that there are a couple of away trips being planned in October. You can check in the pro shop. There's one for Cancun, one for Ireland. Check it out. Pretty good deals.
Thank you, Sue. Okay, so we have Greens Committee, and we need to have an emotion to.
I would like to make a motion to approve Steve Ekstrand as liaison to the Green Committee.
Okay,
I know he's kind of a person of foul disposition and moodiness, but
Really?
okay, I would like to make a motion to approve Mr. Steve Ekstrand as the liaison to the Green Committee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion?
Well, there's a lot of discussion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Any nays? Motion is carried. So Steve, I guess you're doing the report?
Jack Peterson couldn't be here. Jack Peterson runs a much better meeting than I do, is what I've learned being the liaison the first time. He'd like to apologize for not being here. I'm going to read the report that he prepared, which is very verbose. I texted back to him TLDR. The Green Committee met last Thursday, June 1st, continued our discussions of various projects and enhancements to the golf course that are being contemplated. The Board of Directors has asked the committee to discuss drainage issue around the behind the 15th green at the access point, which I like to call Lake Oakmont, and the 16th tee area off of, what is it, Warwick?
Yeah.
And both of those areas, the Greens Committee sort of punted on and delivered into the lap of our general manager, Eric Harris, whose face at the time that happened said that, what? Okay, but our GM and superintendent will be figuring out the best course of action. The best course of action, in my view, on that one is going to be hiring a professional drainage contractor to come out and just do it. So, and we've talked to a couple of Greens Committee members who have some names for Eric to try. So, PWLC will be working on the desertscape areas on holes 3, 4, 5, and 6 to clean up the area. I was just talking with Eric about we were up on the 7th black tee, and he was pointing out that they had just been there this week, and they really are catching up. There's been a lot of deferred maintenance, on the desertscape areas, and some of it was looking really pretty poor. I mean, the joke that I always had was the ACC committee needs to send some weed notices to the club on our desertscape areas. And but having Eric suggested that we bring in PWLC to assist our crews and bring them in, and it's become a relatively low cost thing to have them maintain it. And we didn't give them a lot of hours. We're not buying a lot of hours of their time on that. But you can see that they're beginning to get it caught up. And they've also planted some additional plants around the 5th tee and stuff. And I think it's really starting to look good. I think they're doing a great job for us. And I think outsourcing that has been a real success. The golf shop is working on a new club washer for the driving range, replacing the golf cart box at hole 1. I also noticed that yesterday that they were discussing replacing the seed box at the drinking fountain. So they're going through and kind of trying to clean up those details a little bit. The committee discussed, some limited signage for the desert scape areas. We may discuss the addition of a local rule concerning exposed tree roots. And I believe they punted to David Goldstein on that one, to have him work with Chester and Eric about coming up with a local rule for drops off tree roots, which are becoming pretty bad in some areas. And it's a safety concern. You can get hurt there, and just for local country club resort play, I mean, should we be injuring ourselves, right? But it becomes, when you think about how you're going to do it and how you're going to identify a tree root area, it's not as easy to come up with a clear rule. So they're going to work something through, and so look for that coming up. The GCM staff is hard at work preparing for the summer and to continue Bermuda grass recovery. The membership will see various phases such as slicing, aerating, and spraying over the next few months. It's our opinion that we already are seeing positive results and hope the course continues to respond. The staff is starting to replace sections of the collars around some greens to improve the transition to the green surface. This will also help with controlling invasive grass, broadleaf and whatnot growing into the greens. The GM and committee will continue their work with the DWA to secure funding for up to 4 areas to remove turf and install desert scape. Jack Peterson took us around at the end of the meeting last month, and or June 1st, and we looked actually on site at some of the areas he's proposing. And since we don't know what DWA funding is going to be, we kind of have a sliding scale of projects. So, you know, if they say they can come up with $500,000 in funding for us, well, we got the projects for them. If it's a smaller amount, we'll do a smaller slice each year. So we're ready for it. So, there's, of course, no actual coursework will be done until the DWA is confirmed funding and the FCC and the board of directors have approved the work. Committee is discussing tree removal, which is going to be a controversial thing for the membership. I can tell you our golf course superintendent is very concerned about how many trees we have. We have 752 trees on this golf course. And it is, not only is it a lot of maintenance, it requires a lot of water, requires a lot of maintenance. It causes a lot of detritus on the course, you know, the pine needles and all that kind of stuff. But it also is, the shade really hurts our Bermuda grass growth. So he would like to open it up, and that is the trend nationwide in golf course architecture is to take these courses that are 50 to 100 years old, and they end up with enormous amounts of tree growth and just kind of thin that out a little bit. So that's controversial because I like both the blockage of the wind and the shade. So we've got to, I think we have to find a balance point here, but they will be, my point here is that we, that is something that we are definitely going to have, you know, member comment on. And last time trees were marked, the members kept pulling the ribbons off the trees. And that is called unclear on the concept, okay? Because putting a ribbon on the tree is a note to the membership to comment about that particular tree and whether they want to save it or have it removed. And they would keep removing the ribbon so nobody could comment. Well, if nobody's commenting, Raphael's going to look at that and go, well, that tree's going away. So leave the ribbon up and make your comment card, okay? Adults here. Remember that does reduce trimming and maintenance costs. Also, the pine needles and whatnot. We have pine cone damage to the mower blades, and we have increased sharpening costs. So there's a lot of reasons to look at a thinning out of the 752. So that's all I got for Greens Committee. Yeah, the suit.
Well, you alluded to desertscape, and I noticed today that there's a lot of red stakes behind number 3.
I believe that's Frontier Cables where they're going to be trenching. I think that
Because it was like,
I don't know if
there's a
it's.
lot going on, and we don't know what it
I don't know if the Raphael was telling them to trench there or to not trench there or something. But yeah, I think that's a,
Not designated.
yeah. Or a really creative new Barranca we're gonna put in, modeling after the George C. Thomas stuff of the.
All the way back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, next we have House Committee. Dave?
Yeah, I'll speak for the House Committee today. First of all, I'd like to really thank Wendy Scott for her service. She was fantastic as a committee chair, an absolute workhorse, and she is greatly missed. And with that, we have a little bit of a vacuum of leadership that one of our members is willing to step in. And she requested that be in an interim role for now. So with that, I would like to make a motion that the board accepts Jenny Dowles as the interim committee chair for the House Committee.
Second.
Do we have any discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried, Dave.
Okay, the conversation with the House Committee is a little bit ongoing, similar to the past. The room you're in right now, we're in the process of repairing walls, painting. The wallpaper's been taken down, I believe. And we're heading into the flooring aspect of this room. And obviously, the rest of the flooring that's going to be going in the foyer, down the hall, and in the Sanji room and in the offices. Another topic that's been ongoing with the House Committee, and it's very important, we have an extremely outdated set of motel rooms. Now, we're charging a premium here at MLCC, pushing $150 some a night. And if you get in there, it looks like you're putting people in a room that's straight from the 80s. So they're working hard on trying to come up with an idea that's going to be a little more modern and cost effective, but reflect well on our club. And that is all I have.
Now, what was wrong with the eighties? That's when I went to college. I love the eighties.
Steve, you're definitely a product of the 80s. I will give you that.
Were they remodeling this hotel not long ago? I don't understand that comment.
Yeah, it's not from the 80s. We just redid it.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
When they remodeled the hotel, didn't they just remodel I don't think it really was remodeled. They just updated the bed covers and that kind of stuff. It wasn't new furniture.
Right, yes. So.
Yeah, and what this committee is looking at is a window treatment, furniture, nightstands, and the furniture that houses the refrigerators, bathroom vanities, and that sort of thing. But if anybody has any questions on that, hasn't been in those rooms for a while, I'm sure a member of the committee would love to bring you through there and show you what they have in mind.
In the reserves last year, we had 50,000 set aside for renovation of the ends of furniture and everything like that. We postponed it to this year. So that's what's in the reserves.
Sandra, do you have a comment?
I have a comment about the motel room simply because I spent a week in them, and it's a lot different when you go in and take a look at them versus when you actually stay in them. I've also done a lot of traveling lately, both on the East Coast and in Europe, in approximately the same price range. Our price range really for members comes in at about 175 when you add all the taxes and stuff. The rooms are dark. Bedding across every hotel I've stayed in the last 2 years, bedding is white. It is not a dark look. Rooms are light colored. There are more lamps. There are places to plug in your USBs. Those are all missing. You're also missing places to hang wet towels from the pool, let alone your towels from taking a shower. There's like one hook. The hangers are on the bar and you can't take them off. So you can't take a hanger off to hang something on. You have to, and you're short like me, you have to stand and try to figure out how to get it on there. So those kinds of things are what I find having stayed in the rooms to take a look at. The cost is right.
The pool is gorgeous. There's no reason why it shouldn't be full all the time. If you bring it up, I'm sorry, that's still the 1980s. If you bring it up to what you'll see in almost every hotel today. I've been in hotels in Baltimore, Washington, New York, Poland in the last month, and they're all bright and light and airy. Ours are not. Just like we changed this room to bright and light and airy to now. That's the same kind of thing.
Hey, could I have,
I've talked to Wendy about this a number of times, you know, we've talked about.
would Sandra be willing to write those thoughts down? They were good and I couldn't write fast enough, but Sandra, I appreciate your points and I'd love to bring that back to the committee if you would be willing to put some of those ideas down for us, that would be great.
Eric, I've taken pictures in the hotel rooms.
And those pictures have been sent to the house committee or to Jenny Daniels, actually.
It's good perspective, I think. You think it was dark then, it's really dark this weekend.
Yeah, so let's hear credit.
Okay, I for one, I like dark, so.
Thank you for the comments.
You're welcome.
We appreciate that. Okay, let's see, next committee is member communication.
Sandra, if you'd be so kind.
Absolutely. Generally, I can do this without meeting. Hi, member communication committee met a couple of weeks ago. We did not have a quorum, so we were not able to vote on things like agenda minutes. But we decided to take the time to talk just generally about communications and the club. We had I think a very positive kind of discussion. Included in the member communication committee now is also an owner from the condos, which brings in yet another perspective. Communication is the act of sending and receiving information and feedback. So it sort of touches on most all of the committees that we have here because everything comes from communication, whether we're talking finance or going to the restaurants and using that. How do we communicate all of this out and around? So we took advantage of the time. And the overarching comment, and I believe it was Mr. Moe who brought it up earlier today, is that MLCC is evolving. It is changing. Time is going on and there are things that need to be looked at. He was looking more at strategic planning. I am looking more at communication among and between us all. So did you know there was an almost 40% turnover in ownership at this club between January 2020 and May 15, 40%. Did you know that as of June 15th, there are 43 homes for sale in MLCC? We have 800-ish homes. You've already had a 40% turnover. You've got another 40 plus that are changing. That means new people coming in. That means not necessarily the same age group, the same finance group. There's a lot of changes. That's not necessarily the Canadians. That's people coming in from LA. That's people coming in from other parts of the country. Approximately 70% of the residences at the condos are occupied by renters. And a lot of the homes, even within the single family homes, are renters. Only about 380 members. How many members do we have? That's how many, yeah, give or take. But remember, each home has 2 memberships.
No.
Only about 380 members are playing golf routinely. That's a change, I think, for this organization. Not all the event flyers for the community clubhouse things are sent to everybody. I understand certain golf things being sent to the golfers that make more sense. However, if you want more golfers, maybe you send it to everybody because they may know somebody. They may want to start. There are other kinds of things. Many owners, maybe those who are landlords, because you're renting your home out, are not using the food minimum. They're paying it. But if you pay the $480 a year, which I understand and I have no problem with, how many of you here who go to the clubhouse for food spend more than $480 a year?
Yeah.
So look at the money you're not getting above that 480, okay? And that there are kids living here. There are kids, there are college kids, there are elementary school kids. Callie has a 15 or now probably 17-month-old. I have to keep adding, but we have kids here. We're not a senior community. We are not a 55 plus. We are not a gated community. So that means the kinds of people who are coming in and coming to live here are perhaps not golfers, perhaps still working, perhaps younger, perhaps looking for other kinds of activities, because we're not a golf club, we're a country club, which means that there's more than just golf going on. So taking all those kinds of things, how do we communicate? What do we do? How do we take care of this? So we talked about a few things. And Sam, if you have, we've talked a couple of times. I know Mari tried really hard last year to have a meeting of the committee chairs together with the board to kind of make sure that we're all talking about the same things, that we're all identifying the same kinds of problems, that we're all looking for how to improve. So we're still looking to have something like that. I got an email from a new member. Now that my name is on that newsletter, I got an email from a new member who's been here now 3.5 months, who said, how do you get started in this community? I thought we were going to have all kinds of things to do. So it's that reach out. Mari was doing it to a certain extent. She was writing emails to new members. I know that's how we got Kyle on one of the committees, but we were talking about board members together with committee chairs, taking turns, reaching out to new members, welcoming them, having a cup of coffee with them, having a glass of wine with them, whatever makes sense, and reaching out to new members. I'm a new member of 1.5 years. It took a long time to start finding a place to be. We were also talking about doing a video, potentially a video of how the community works, where you can find things. I know the ADA bathroom is the thing, but I had no idea there was a gate back there. I have a friend who is unable to come down those steps, and that elevator chair doesn't work, hasn't worked since before I came here. Down will ever work, probably out of service. But I had to call to Erin and say, how do I bring somebody to the pool? She goes, oh, well, the gate. I go, there's a gate. There's an app. Those are the kinds of things that don't necessarily get found out by new members because they're all busy when they're moving in. We talked about various ideas of using the food minimum, of perhaps you mentioned in finance that the renters passes and such are much lower than they were the passes in the ability. Well, the restaurant is not private. How do we get to the renters? The emails, the blasts go to the owners, not to the renters. So we started talking about whether we do a direct mail or whether we do, remember the old days with the door hangers? You know, you hang you still get them, I think, from some places, with an encouragement to come up here and eat. We want to make the restaurant work. Shelley was talking about, you know, one of the reasons we want more tournaments is to have more people come in. It's more money. We get to applaud when Eric gives his reports. That's really cool stuff. We talked about monthly surveys. One of the discussions was that the board could come up with a topic every month for a survey that can go out via email with the results being given out here. Encourage people to come to the board meeting. These all come under communication. Monthly survey, the condo management. I'm sorry, Tim isn't here, or Mike isn't here yet. But the condo is putting together a new website. Yes, we're talking about a crossover that we can be in each other's website a little bit so that there's more interaction among and between. And I think that was pretty much it. Yep. We talked about a lot of stuff. To Mr. Mo's point, this is a different kind of strategic plan. How do we want to incorporate the new people who are coming into our community? How do we want to re-engage the people who are in our community who don't engage? And that's today's NCC.
Yep. Very good.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Steve. Okay, next is COPS committee. Dennis?
First, I would like to make a motion to approve Peggy and William Ward as new committee members.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this?
Are they here today?
Yeah, I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
I do not have a report and I was unable to reach Larry, so we can leave that into the record later.
Okay. All right.
I can help with that. Please remember, close your garage doors. You don't want criminals coming into your house.
That's a very good report.
Right?
Oh, can I make a comment? My neighbor next door, I put it on next door. She has a picture of two people coming up and trying to get into her cars in her driveway, right next door to me. So please keep your cars locked when they're outside.
And that is really
Good point.
routine. It's what they do. They walk through our neighborhood
Exactly.
about 2 a.m.
Yep.
to 4 a.m.
That's what
And they
it's-
check, and they basically, you'll see it on our cams. They're walking up and they check car doors, Every single car in the neighborhood gets checked.
Not just cars, they tried my front door too.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, and I was here to say broad daylight,
Yeah.
locked in the. Yeah, so keep
Early
keep
in
things
my
locked.
I'd let them in my house.
So,
Okay, thank you, Dennis. The next committee is Pool and Rec.
Closure.
I am the liaison to that, and once again, yes?
no, we just want you to be quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry. When the Pool and Recreation, when we met for the committee, there was not enough of the committee that was there, so there is no report this month because we were not able to have a meeting. The next is Future Planning Committee. Dave?
Yeah, I'll speak to this on behalf of Phil. I see one of my committee members out there. Hi, Ken. And my other committee member right next door. Hi, Judy. Anyway, oh, and a special hi to Anita if she's still in there. I saw Anita. Hi, Anita. Anyway, future planning is still looking at the three things we talked about last month. We're looking at what Sandra just referred to, an ongoing problem with getting people in that have disabilities into the pool area. Now, we do have an access into the gate area through the new bathroom now, but that chair's been out of commission for years. Future planning is going to assist the board of directors in getting some pricing for a ramp that will lead down to the pool area from one of the gates. That's one of the things they're looking at. They're also assisting the board in getting pricing on the handicap parking out in front of the club. And obviously this structural evaluation that's been tabled. So that's what's going on with future planning right now.
Thank you, Dave. And thank you, everyone, for your committee reports. Moving on, we'll have old business. I think we have any old business. Moving on, it will be new business. The very first thing that we need to discuss is a motion to approve the 23-24 insurance renewal from the board.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 23-24 insurance renewal. I think the pricing we got on that was very competitive. It's about, I think it was a $9,000 increase, and everything I'm hearing in the industry is it is a scary time right now, and we've got State Farm leaving, Allstate was leaving. I was having this discussion with Eric, and he was telling me about Philadelphia, which is kind of a golf course specific carrier, and they're pulling way back. There's lots of companies are not writing new policies in California, and so I think the package that we have is outstanding, and I wouldn't want to shake things up right now.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Although, Eric,
The only discussion we have, what we did discuss with the rep, and we'll be meeting with one of our homeowners here that deals with insurance next week, but one of the things we discussed was some of the values in there that we increased a little bit, and adding some of the new things we put on our docket. So other than that, it's not going to change, but we are talking about the values still a little bit.
Thank you. So there was a motion and a second. Is there any other further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. And then next we are going to approve, we need a motion to approve. The board is filling the vacant position that has been left on the board. And so I would like to have a motion to approve Brian Brook to take over the position that is vacant on the board.
I move to, go ahead. I move to approve Brian Brook to fill the vacant position on the board.
I'll second.
Do we have any discussion?
Seriously, you learned about Brian Brook?
Turn around.
So,
I hear a lot of who is these, I'm right here. Thank you.
We shot a net 70 today.
And it's the computer generation,
I'd like to really say, that one of my feelings about, one of my reasons for encouraging Brian and supporting Brian is that he represents the next generation. And while I think it's maybe too much to change a board with all new people, I wouldn't want to see that. It is always the time to encourage a next generation of leadership to step forward and begin learning what it's like to go into the stocks and have the rotten tomatoes thrown at you and all that good stuff. So welcome, Brian, and your youth, energy, experience is all going to be helpful here.
Have you voted? You haven't voted yet.
Okay, just one. Okay, can we have a motion and we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Well,
And I believe Brian is going to be sitting on the finance committee. Is that correct?
That is.
I
Yes,
would like
please,
to make
Attorney.
a motion to assign Brian Brook to the Finance Committee to fill the absent place of Susan Rumsauer, who was elevated to president, and so is no longer a voting member on the Finance Committee.
I
I
second.
second.
Do you have any discussion on that? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion is carried. Well, welcome, Brian.
Welcome, Brian.
And he's not that young. He's got gray up there.
Yeah.
Brian, would you like to say a few words so everybody kind of gets to?
Yeah, you guys, there's a lot of faces. I do see you a lot, but I don't know that you guys know me all that well. So somebody was asking for qualifications. I've been in real estate for about 20 years. We moved here 2 years ago and literally are never looking back. So we couldn't be happier to be here. We moved out from Orange County and we do not see ourselves anywhere else. So thank you guys so much for having us.
Trying to be the liaison to ACC.
I hope so.
So I would like to make a motion that we accept Brian as the
God,
liaison to
he's
the
gonna
Architectural
quit.
Control Committee.
Second.
Is there anything else you want to pile on?
Dennis might off be the secretary.
Motion.
I think we might wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Table it?
Just table that.
We'll table that. That one will be tabled.
Okay.
Okay, the final thing that we need to discuss, and this is a discussion that we're putting out there to the membership. We're not voting on it. This is something that we just all need to discuss. It was brought to our attention about the hat rule that has been in effect here at MLCC for many moons, but it probably is something that should be looked at, that is a good possibility of changing. And that is that men can only wear their hats in the bar or the lakes room till 6. And then after 6, they have to take their hats off. And it, personally, on my opinion, the hats in the bar or the lakes room is okay. I am not for seeing hats in the dining room at all, because that's the dining area. But when you come in and you're golfing and you've been out golfing all day, you got hats. Truthfully, the ladies don't have to remove their hats, but the men do at 6. So this is open for discussion. If anybody would have an opinion on this.
Clear sexism and bias.
I'd like to make an opinion on this, the whole situation with hats and stuff like that, going into the dining room area, we are a country club. And that's what I moved here for, to see and to enjoy the rules and regulations for the country club. And one of them was the hat, also the shirts, not people wearing t-shirts. And I've tried several times, many a time, to tell the waitresses that they can't go in there. They said they can't do anything about it. And we have rules sitting out here and everything else saying that you cannot wear a t-shirt, but they said you can't stop them. And I try to tell them they're only 10 minutes away from their house. In this whole country club, they go change. It won't hurt running out and coming back to have dinner. So other than that, but we are a country, we're not a yeah. But we're a country club. We need to stick with our rules and regulations on certain things and be proud of what we have.
So Don, we're not talking about the dining room. We're talking about the bar. We're not talking about the dining room at all. Hats are not allowed in the dining
Well,
room.
that's been the case forever.
At any time.
For the
Right.
last 4
But
years.
I think it's silly to have an arbitrary time as 6 p.m. where all of a sudden I have to take my freaking hat off. And I don't think it's fair to the staff to have to come around and tell people to take their hats off
In the bar.
in the bar. That's all we're talking about is the bar and in here.
Well, no, I don't believe in that either.
Okay, and but it is a rule right now that the men have to remove their hats in the bar at 6 p.m.
And has anybody ever been told that?
Yes, right there.
Yeah.
I was told that. That's why I'm trying to change the rule. And I didn't think it was fair to the young lady that had to come and tell me that. Right? I was like, really? We have that rule? I didn't know.
And it's
But-
not fair for us to have to look at that hair.
And there was exactly. And there was a half a dozen other men in there. And I was the only one that removed my hat. But some of the other people just said, no, I'm not gonna do it. Right? And there's nothing she can do about that. And that's not a good position that you should be putting.
When did
that
rule go into effect? I don't know. And I've never heard of that.
Well, I had never heard of that rule either, but that's why I'm making a motion to change that rule. Right.
It is there.
Prem would like to say something.
You know, after golf, I was out here having lunch and I had my hat on. And all of a sudden I got a tap on my shoulder and said, you cannot wear a hat, you gotta take it off. This is 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I don't think that's fair. We are out playing golf. We are having lunch. And what's wrong with the hat?
Were you in the dining room or the bar?
Well, you have the dining, not the backside.
That's bar. That's the bar.
Yeah, that's considered the bar. I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I was allowed to have it on and I had to
Right.
take it off.
Exactly.
That makes no sense. You know, as far as I'm concerned, if you're in the bar area. And though this annexed right off of the bar, because that's a bar area too, basically. You can wear your hat as long as you want. Why, I mean, why 6 o'clock? It makes no sense. If you're going into the dining room to have our fine dining and to sit down, then you can't wear a hat. It's as simple as that.
So there are such things as time moves on, rules change as well, right? So it just needs to be discussed more because Mr. Lala brought up a point, there was a golf tournament and basically there is no hats in the dining room. So we understand it's a golf tournament. People started saying there shouldn't be any hats in here.
It says in the rules, but I mean, rules are made to change if.
Yeah.
If everybody believes in it and votes on it, I mean, and this is just open
And
for
the
discussion.
dining room during the day, that rule was actually changed to you could never have hats on in the dining room during the day. I mean, at all, ever, at any time. That was not the rule 25 years ago. That was a rule that changed probably like 12 years ago. Because I remember it, because my comment was to the board. When you build locker rooms, I will take my hat off. Oh, I know.
Been 12 years ago.
You know. But they took those out.
Well, okay, well, this is paid before the board, and so this is going to be a discussion that will be
Could this be
discussed.
one of the first surveys?
I think it should be.
I think that's excellent, right, Sam? We're
Yeah.
talking about surveys to get member input. This is exactly the whole point of this.
Good idea.
So can we take that and maybe take a look at any of the other clothing rules, although I think most of it makes sense at least to me. But if you take those kinds of things and make that our first survey,
Yeah, good idea, Pam.
we good?
That's a
Well,
good thing.
we'll discuss that. Thank you very much. That will be part of our discussion. Okay, is there any other new business? Okay, lien delinquent list, no,
We do have an executive session and we'll meet next.
but we do have an executive session. So, yes, Sandra?
Totally off the topic, I wanted to say something about food and beverage. We had dinner there the other night. We now have that charcuterie board and the watermelon bruschetta. We have that new one. And somebody stopped by our table and said, where did you get that?
That was me.
What? And the idea was, what an amazing dish for here.
I saw your post on Facebook. It was good.
Maybe that's my ground.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rhoda.
But it was nice to see a change. It wasn't right.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's not wrong.
Okay, we just have one more thing, and that is the gift card. Do we have a number back there?
Can I just make
Shelley?
one little comment, and Dave Stanley, don't drop dead on me yet when I tell you this. It was about 14 years ago, the president of the board at the time, Tom Brady, and myself, I was on the board, and Eddie Baxter was coming on. And we were looking at some noise issues from Mountain View. They were complaining and they wanted to sue because of the guy couldn't sleep during the night. He could only sleep at 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. So there was dealing with the city and the county. So the county invited us to Riverside to chat about what we could do to assist him or that he didn't have a complaint legitimately. Turns out they looked for, before we went to that meeting, and this was scheduled 5 weeks ahead of time with the head of the building department and 2 supervisors, that they could not find any permit for this club. They could not find a permit on microfiche. All of you are old enough to know what microfiche is. They could not find a paper trail of. So what is a concern was, if you remember when we remodeled the gym and we found that the support beams and the joists did not line up, they didn't touch. You remember walking down towards the GM's office, there was a gap. Well, we're not sure if there is also a gap running this way, so that the pro shop might be down a little bit, or I can see kitchen coming down. So I am concerned that we may have some issues. Riverside County was very forgiving in saying they weren't coming after us because we didn't have permits. They said, you've been there too long. Remember, this place was really way out here. There was nothing. So nobody knew what they were doing, which was fine. But the catch is that if there is some way to find out what is going on from the bar this way, if the joists and the support beams were not connected, I'm wondering what the other side looks like too.
Remember, before we get there, yeah,
Houses built directly to the plans ever.
Yeah, well, this this was mainly, a lot of it, and Ken, you can kind of verify this. A lot of it was done with there were a lot of volunteers, young construction people here that volunteered their time, not to be paid, but I can do this, I can do that, and a lot of them did great work. Yeah, so what happened is, you never know when somebody says, yeah, it'll work. For how long? So to support a little bit about us looking at whether it's some sort of machine that can actually get into the walls and take a look on this side down, I would really.
Remember, that used to be the cart barn underneath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this, before the gym project, the generation before that, there was a project on the east side of the building.
Mhm.
So I mean, we have been in there.
yeah, well,
Well,
we're
Shelley,
not
this,
sure
this
though.
has been tabled for right.
I
now.
realize that, but I
Okay.
wanted,
I understand, and we
I just
appreciate
wanted-
it, but there's a lot of discussion that's gonna happen.
yeah, but I just, yeah, I understand that, Sam. I'm not arguing
Okay.
for or against it. I'm just saying that there are some issues that could be looked at before we have a major issue.
Mhm.
And if there's a way to take a look at it without this part falling down or the bar being a little lower than it is right now, who knows?
We've got
Thank you.
plans that stamped
Yeah, there was,
by engineers, no, we got it,
Yeah, yeah.
Eric's got them now, we found
Yeah.
just here of what,
it's
Eric,
called building.
months
permit.
ago. Yeah, building permit, when you stamp it, they.
Yeah, they
that
don't
means the
have it.
County's not keeping the building.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so very much, and this will be an ongoing discussion as we move forward. We do have the card. And today the number is Sue Ketchum.
Oh.
And Sue Ketchum is 19.
You are 19 today.
Wow, I remember then, maybe.
Okay, can I have a
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much for coming
I
today.
think the big Heine is 12 and 18, certainly a big goal.
Susan,
Okay, so what are we doing with David for that? I was gonna say if I could call him. Okay, can we call you on the phone, David?
sure.
For the, because we're gonna go into executive right now. Okay?
Yep.
We'll get you a board member.